Dark Knight's Death Metal, the sequel to the infamous Dark Knight's Metal. And that was a pretty fun read. I remember reading that maybe like 2022. It was a couple years ago, and I did quite enjoy it. And they said to get the full metal experience before you even touch the death metal series, you need to read the Justice League run, the Scott Snyder Justice League run that followed right after Metal. And I remember not loving that run too much at all. I remember really not liking the first like couple arcs. Like it really wasn't until like 2/3 into the run, like it was the last few trade paperbacks that I was reading where I was kind of liking it. I really did not like the majority of that run. But the ending was kind of nice, and the way how that run ended essentially was them losing, kind of a Infinity War moment where the heroes lose, and they end up like on a moon or something, and they kind of just run into this door, this white door, and you're like, and there's like, oh, death metal, read death metal, to get the conclusion for that, and you're like, damn, like that was a really interesting ending, because again, it literally was Infinity War with them losing like that. And before you read death metal, wait, because you have to read Year of the Villain. And I never ended up buying the Year of the Villain books. I ended up just like watching a YouTube summary, and it's just pretty much Lex Luthor like taking over and recruiting people, and I don't know, it's a bunch of nonsense. That didn't really give much info for this, because all you need to know is that like the Batman Who Laughs like replaces Lex Luthor's position with Perpetua, and this just sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, I know. But yeah, so I kind of figured out myself with Year of the Villain, and now we're at the infamous Death Metal. You know, I hate to say it, I kind of agree with the masses on this one. Most people say the first Metal was pretty solid, you know, pretty fun, and the Death Metal is a bunch of filler, not greatness, and I do have to agree with them. This was a lot. And honestly, it was a lot of nothing, to be honest. It was a lot of nothing. To get the full death metal experience, you need 5 trade paperbacks. 5. In the original metal, you only needed 4. And I'm just going to start right off the bat. With those 4 trade paperbacks, everything kind of made sense, you know? One trade paperback was kind of the info you needed beforehand. You know, it gave you some issues that would give you some more context. It gave you 2 issues, I believe, drawn by like Jim Lee and Andy Kubert, another artist, that was like, you know, read this to see what this thing leads up to, you know? That was the one trade paperback. The other trade paperback was the metal event itself, the main book. So you need to read the kind of the brain to everything, you know, solid. No, the third trade paperback was giving context to all the villains, you know, all the Batman Who Laughs, the Flash Batman Who Laughed, the Aquaman, whatever, just all of them. And then the fourth one was like essentially what like the side characters were up to. Like just kind of those were like the actual tie-ins of what everyone was doing that wasn't in metal, and just kind of the side characters and whatever. Again, this I read this series like 4 years ago, so I'm kind of hazy on it. But that kind of, you know, each book had its own purpose. With this is you pretty much get this, the main metal. You get to see what the Justice League is up to, and it's not even like the real Justice League, it's like the Nightwing Justice League. And then for these guys, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what I'm reading. These all felt like filler. It just, I don't know what I was reading. Just this whole thing, like just this was probably like, I don't know, like 15 issues, 15, 16, 17 issues worth of story. And it's just, I don't know. I don't even know how to review this, because I don't even know where to start or just what to review. I don't know. I don't know. Genuinely the only thing, the only good issue I remember from this entire conundrum is there's one issue where they kind of invent a new character. I'm gonna call him Lampshade Man. I don't even know which book he's in, but I'm gonna find it. Yeah, Lampshade Man. So this is this guy who they made a new character, and he's like, I don't know, he's like the journalist of the DC universe, and he like records everything and before they die, and he's seen like a billion worlds or whatever, and he kind of goes around this DC universe, and he's like, you know, this one, he just gives a really nice speech, a kind of a, like, it's a very nice speech, like, you know, that he's like, but here in this universe, The stories feel so vibrant and alive. They feel unfinished, cut off before their time, by natural forces, by unnatural forces. And he's like witnessing, like, oh yeah, by the way, Bruce Wayne, who becomes Batman Who Laughs, is now like a shadow god who's fighting Perpetua. Again, this guy used to be a human. Can we remember that? Like, he used to be a human. Anyways, yeah. So this one character, this is the only issue I remember from all these books. Even the main death metal book. This is the only issue I remember because it generally was like a very interesting look at like a third person's perspective on the DC universe, and it was very nice. And I don't know if this guy ever pops in again ever, but I did like his character a lot. And again, this is genuinely the only one story I remember from this entire series. There's so much things that happens in this book. Lobo has like a very prominent role in this story, surprisingly. Another letdown is the Batman Who Laughs' sidekicks. In the first one, it was very clear cut. Here are members of the Justice League that turned evil. In this one, it's like it's a Batmobile that turns evil. It's Gotham City that turns evil. It's a Robin who's not like Dick Grayson or Tim Drake. It's a Robin who's Bruce Wayne, and I don't really know what anyone was thinking. And again, I know I'm sounding really vague. I know I'm not really being descriptive. There's nothing to describe. I don't know what I'm describing exactly because I don't know what I read, honestly. Another massive letdown is, like I said, the ending of the Justice League run was very much like Infinity War. And kind of what they were hinting at with Death Metal is kind of going to be like Endgame, because the whole thing of this book is, they're going to go back in time to the different crises events and get crisis energy or get a MacGuffin or whatever. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. That sounds amazing. And then you see the cover of issue 7 and you see, oh my gosh, is this modern day Wonder Woman, linking up with the OG Crisis on Infinite Earth Wonder Woman? You see this cover and you're like, ooh, that's crazy. Like, it's going to be a full-on Avengers Endgame. Like, the book is going to be, Batman goes to one thing and Superman goes to one thing and Wonder Woman. And it's like that for like 5 pages. The time heist to crises different events for this entire series is like that for about 5 pages. And guess what? You don't even get to see anything. I'm gonna go find it. Like, it happens in such an insignificant point in the book. I don't even know if I can locate where it is. I was under the impression the entire book, or at least the majority of the book, was gonna be this, cool time heist going back into the crises, and it's dedicated to like half an issue, a couple pages. And I'm just like, what is even the point of this? What is even the point of this? I don't know. And then, the whole clickbaity thing with Wonder Woman, the 2 Wonder Womans, it's like spoilers for, Dark Knight's Death Metal if you guys really cared about it. But essentially she, like, dies. Wonder Woman turns into, like, this, golden green, monster lady, and she fights the monster ghost shadow Batman Who Laughs, and then I don't know, something happens. I forgot what happened, to be honest. I read this book like 2 weeks ago. I don't remember, but like they lost or something, and then everything's blacked out, and then you see like, the 2 Dianas, and they're talking. This has nothing to do with like them traveling back in time. It looks great, but like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know what like. Scott Snyder really was just throwing everything at the wall and just seeing what stuck, because this is just so vapid, just like nothing happens. I guess I should talk about the art, because obviously the art is fantastic. It really is. This pretty much is the last book that Greg Capullo, FCO Placencia, and Jonathan Glapion worked on. Yeah, these goats right here, shout out to these guys. The reason I have this cover is because this is like the last cover that those guys did together. This is the last book that these guys worked on. So like, I gotta memorialize this, because it is, even the book isn't that great. The cover itself is absolutely beautiful. And again, to my knowledge, this is the very last thing all 3 of them has worked on together. And I don't see them working on anything else, because FCO Placencia has like beef with Greg Capullo, because I don't know, something with, the Wolverine revenge drama. But this cover is just genuinely beautiful, and I just really want him to get it. I'm not someone who gets like covers, or I'm not really a cover guy, but I decided to make an exception for that. This entire series felt like a genuine waste of time. I didn't pay full price because I got it all on Facebook Marketplace for like $40. But like, if you're paying retail, you're paying $107 plus tax for all of these books. And when I tell you that this is not worth $107 of story, like, I don't know what to say. Just, honestly, a complete waste of time, a complete waste of money, and the fact that to get this, to get to this point, you need, not only do you need to read Metal, right? You need to read No Justice, and then Justice League, and then Year of the Villain, and then this. This is supposed to be the epic conclusion to like hundreds at that point, hundreds of issues of story, and nothing. Something I forgot to mention is literally the end of the Justice League run, right? They run into the white door, the white door of fate, and the book does not pick up there. The book picks up like a year later, and it's like, oh yeah, it didn't work out. They did something, it didn't work out, and whatever. They briefly touch upon it in like in the middle of the book, where they give like kind of a flashback. But I don't know. You think you're gonna end the Justice League run with them running into a white door? You're not gonna like resolve that at the start of this issue, or you're not gonna like follow it up at this, and they just don't. I don't really have anything good to say about this book, about this series at all. If you read Metal and you liked it, just let's stay there. Just don't bother with Justice League. Don't bother with Death Metal. Don't bother with Year of the Villain or No Justice, or just stop it at Metal. It's good. It's fine there. This was very unnecessary. It was very nice seeing Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder, team up on a DC project. Very nice. It's obviously very nice. Last time we'll probably ever see those three artists, Capullo, Paciencia, and Glapian, working together. The three of them to combine with Snyder, because they were the original Batman team. So it is very nice seeing that. But again, you're only seeing that for 7 issues. I got the oversized hardcover, very nice, for 7 issues. Is it really worth reading 7 issues of this, but also to understand half of the story, to also read 4 of these guys? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So yeah, massive disappointment. And yeah.